Hello and welcome to episode 3 of In Orbit, Mash Those Buttons official podcast for Destiny. I am Jared and I'm here with Jovan Branch, also known as Sage the Infinite on PSN.
What is going on, people?
Yes, and I'm also here with Jorge Vegija, also known as GoTo NRG on PSN. And dude, for the life of me, I cannot remember your Xbox tag,
It's the JTI.
but it's like not like you use it that often, I can imagine.
Yeah, the Xbox One is just a dead box right now. LOL.
The dead box.
Damn.
You know, I actually downloaded my first like Games for Gold game like last month on the Xbox because they finally had something I wanted, the Rayman Legends or Origins or it was Legends. So I finally used Games for Gold. Yay for them.
I might be getting one soon.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about why, but maybe I'll tell you, and then I already told you why, but we'll get into that another time.
okay. So I guess this podcast coming a bit late, 2 weeks late actually. We just had some things getting away. I was sick, Sage was sick, Jorge overslept.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just wasn't working out. I traveled. This month has been kind of a clusterfuck for me. Most of the podcasts coming in late are my fault this month.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so be it.
Shit happens.
It does. It does. But before we get into the topics, I guess why don't we talk about what we've been doing in Destiny. I'll go first since mine's is the lowest. Nothing. I've been doing nothing in Destiny besides, I don't know, helping a friend out try to get some exotics by doing the Nightfall and a little PvP. But that's about it. What about Sage? Why don't you tell us?
I don't know if the last time I had my hunter at 30, but I got my hunter at 32 the cheap way. Yes, that's right. You can crucify me. I got it the cheap way through the Iron Banner armor.
Oh, that's not cheap. That's not cheap. Much
well,
frustration. You probably lost a couple years off of your life playing Iron Banner.
Well, people say like, "Oh, you didn't get it the raid way. That's not the real way." I've heard that before.
Who's saying that? That's the shoot. If you can get him to 32 any which way possible, so be it. Especially with the update that we're going to be talking about, where there's literally hundreds of different ways you can get to 34.
That's what I thought. I'm like, yo, I still had to grind. Like, I still had to play my ass off in PvP to
You still had to deal with endless thorns and.
Oh yeah, like, I didn't even touch Iron Banner last time because I was so disgusted by the time before that.
Right. Yeah, and I mean that's how I got my 132. My other two characters are 31, and I just recently actually finally got the nerve up to get the thorn. So I got the thorn, and I just been shooting people up with that now. So that's what I've been getting into.
Yeah, every time you like get that last shot with the thorn and you turn around, it's like turning around and a building exploding behind you. Because they're gonna die. Like it's a cool feeling. Super cheap. Super
when you
cheesy.
see those little sevens flying off, it's like
yeah,
it's like little Z's just going into
yeah. It's like go to sleep, go to sleep. Yep, that's exactly what I'm thinking. What about you, Jorge? What you been up to?
Well, I've been helping out a lot of people. Get to 32. That's what I've been doing lately, really. I mean, the only exotic in the game I need is Fourth Horseman, which they actually buffed in the recent patch. It's the only weapon that they've really buffed in the recent patch.
Maybe I shouldn't have turned it into a shard then.
Oh man, it's a beast. It's one of the better guns in the game now, apparently.
But the fire rates they buff the fire rate?
It's literally plow, 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 plow.
Maybe I'll try to get another one.
Look up a video of somebody taking out Omnigul with that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, because that was the problem I had before. I mean, I had the Invective, which was a casket closer. Like, it had range, it fired fast, it had impact, and I got the Fourth Horseman, and it was like, boom, boom, boom. Like, and I wasn't killing people. Like, just the Invective was much better. I just like the sound of the Invective. The sound of the Invective is like you're closing a book on somebody's life. That's what it sounds like when you fire it. It's awesome. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, but besides that, I mean, I went back to my old clan, the one I created back in the day, when the game first started, and now it has over about almost 30 people on it. So that thing grew up big time with all these new people that came in.
Nice.
I've just been helping them do raids, getting people who were level 26 up to 31 at least, getting them through Vault of Glass, especially now that Vault of Glass is, all that stuff is useful again, or going to be useful again. Yeah, that's just getting ready for House of Wolves pretty much.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I just I've been traveling a lot this month, and I was a little sick, but I don't know. Like the only time I really get on was to help my friend out to do the Nightfalls, pretty much, and maybe shoot the shit with Sage doing some Crucible, because that's the only reason I do Crucible is to shoot the shit with Sage.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we make funny videos sometimes. That's about it.
Yeah, macho man.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Some funny shit still happens in the Crucible, but more bullshit than funny shit, and that's the problem.
Yeah, big problem.
Yeah. Let's get to some topics. Obviously, we're gonna be talking about House of Wolves. Lots of information has come out. It's kind of good that the podcast got pushed back because lots of information came out. After we delayed and then delayed again. So we'll be talking about House of Wolves and what we know about it. But a couple things happened last month or this month. It's still April now, so this month that was good. It's good. Usually when we talk Destiny, we talk like the first 2 episodes or 3 episodes if you count the special edition Mashcast we did. You would think that we hated Destiny because of all the complaining. But there are some good things that happen. First is the Vault expansion. That was a blessing. It really was, because I was running out of space in the Vault, and now there's just so much more space. Hence the name expansion.
Yep.
Like it went from 20, what was it, 24? It was 20 to 24 for weapons, or was that armor? Hold on, I'm looking for it now.
It's 24 for consumables and all that stuff, 24 for armor, 36 for weapons.
Right.
But this is only for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, which leads me to believe that the next big update coming in the fall will be next gen exclusive, aka PS4, Xbox One. The developers have already gone on record of saying that basically the Xbox 360 and the PS3 are holding the game back in many ways. The item matching feature is no longer available as it was before.
Well, when I'm looking at an article now, and it says that all 4 platforms got the space increase, but on Xbox 360 and PS3 they lost the ability to match, atom match, which is a pain in the ass. That's a huge pain in the ass to lose. You know what I'm saying? If that was the case, they probably would have chose to keep the vault small.
Right.
Well, I don't know. All I know is that having that many weapons, being able to transfer them on the fly like that, would really drain the PS3 and the Xbox 360 to the point where the game would become unplayable. So I'm not too surprised by that. I mean, they already when you compare the PS3, besides obviously the graphics, I mean, they've already made it so that you can't just run through a character. Like, let's say you're in the tower, and you know that if you're with a fire team, you can push around your characters, but you can't push around other people's characters. I know on the PS3 and on the Xbox 360, you can push just about anybody, and that's due to the memory constraints. They can't have your fire team separate from other people's.
Right.
So that's one example right there, which to most people would be like, oh, that's not really a big deal. That actually shows you how limited some of this stuff is.
Right.
And it's already a challenge for a game like this where, even though they're matched up with the PS3 and the PS4 in a certain sense, it's almost like developing 4 different games.
Well, yeah. Well, I think every game, or when you have that generation switch, and you have those ports of games that straddle between last gen and current gen, or the next gen, I should say. Um, those games always suffer to a degree. Like, look at Watch Dogs, man. Look at Watch Dogs. Like, that was one of the best examples of a game that probably suffered big time because it was all 4 platforms.
Right.
5 if you count the Wii U, but whatever.
Did that ever come out?
It did. It didn't do well.
Yeah, obviously.
I think it did at most 50,000 copies.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, but I don't think anybody was expecting it to do well, which is probably why Ubisoft actually decided to push it back and didn't pay too much attention to it. So, but yeah, so that happened. The Vault expansion. Bungie is cracking down on Destiny idlers. That became a problem, especially when strikes, or the strike with the weekly heroic, when they added the ability for auto grouping, or what's the word I'm looking for? Not auto grouping. Matchmaking. Sorry. It's late here, folks. Yeah, so matchmaking, and people were just standing in matchmaking and not doing anything. Like, the match would be made, they get put into a game, and then I guess if things worked out for them, the 2 other people who were in their strike would just go and do the strike, because as we all know, you can do strikes with just 2 people, sometimes with just 1 person. And they would get whatever loot they were looking for. They were not looking for, but they would just farm loot that way. And so people that have been, I guess, reported for idling a lot, they now are restricted from matchmaking in specific aspects. So I guess if you were idling in PvP, you're restricted from matchmaking in that. And if you were idling in, strikes and stuff like that, you were restricted from matchmaking in that. So Bungie is finally doing something about it. I really wish Bungie would do something about the laggers.
Yes, crack down on as much cheese as possible.
Yeah, that's like one of the biggest problems. If you didn't listen to the past 3 podcasts we did, that is a hot priority on the in orbit, pecking list.
There is a way to lag like yourself, right? Did I hear that correctly? That people are purposely lagging to get an advantage in multiplayer?
Yeah, they can do that. It's a pain in the ass. You can usually tell those people though.
How does that work? Like, I've never looked it up and seen how it works.
There's special routers that basically reduce the it increases your ping, and it reduces how much internet you get.
Well, the basically, like, to make it as simple as possible, what they're doing is all of their data, their outbound data, them shooting people and them moving and all that stuff, that goes out at full speed. Okay. The data coming in, like people shooting them and other people's movements and stuff like that, they're actually interrupting that. They're interrupting those packets, and when they interrupt those packets, they're actually they'll see somebody, they'll shoot them, and they'll kill them. But because the packets are being interrupted coming in, interrupted to a point, not to a point where they get disconnected, but interrupted to a point where some of the packets just don't make it. That's why when you see misregisters, like when you're like hammering somebody and they're not taking damage, that's what that usually is.
Wow. So who would actually go through all of that just to win?
People who want to build that kill death ratio up to 2.
Yeah.
I know this is crazy, but there's certain clans that they look up your kill death ratio, and if it's not at least 2, you're not in the clan.
Right.
Wow. That's crazy.
And welcome to the competitive nature of Destiny.
Which that's a joke in by itself.
That's what I was about to say. Like, what?
Yeah. Like, but I mean, that's it's really retarded. It's a pain in the ass. Like, all you have to do is you really have to certain routers you can change the firmware. Like, Linksys routers are notorious for that. you can completely change the firmware on a Linksys router to do special stuff like that. Hack up your gaming and things like that.
That's
You know,
ridiculous, man. Like I understand like people wanting to gain an edge for, certain in a game, but like to basically hack your router to give you an advantage, like that's
like
just
it's not that
disgusting.
serious. Like, why don't you just get better at the game?
Seriously. Do it the old fashioned way. I'm an old school gamer, so I mean,
Yeah, like they just want to cheat and hack it up. Oh, it's too hard. Like, and actually, Destiny is not hard at all. Like, you just gotta get like I think we discussed it before. Once you get the right weapons, that'll totally change your Crucible experience.
it's a ball game. Once you get the right weapons, and sometimes the way this game works, you don't even need the right weapons sometimes.
That's
You know
true.
what I'm saying?
And it's not like the right weapons mean you have to get exotics.
Right.
Because I mean, when I
Ask the
got For the People, that's when I became the conductor of the pain train. Like that's when that happened. Like there was like my KD wasn't bad before I got it, but when I got that, it was like a noticeable difference. I mean, you were there,
I was there. I
you
seen
know.
it all. I mean, I'm gonna just say one thing: the Galahad, that like that right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like that's a very easy gun to acquire, and in the Crucible, you could do damage with it. Like it's not a shitty gun,
right.
So I mean, it's if you I mean the weapons make a difference, but if you actually have skills with the weapons too, like I don't see you not doing well in that game because it's not like it's something where it takes a whole bunch of strategy, like the strategy just adds on to how good you are, but like you can be successful with not that much.
Right.
I've seen people come in at, you know, like level, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10, and like they get right in, and that just goes to show you that it doesn't take much to really, especially coming from other games like that, other shooters, like you can dominate.
Very true. This is
So
very true indeed. All right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say if we move on to like the next topic we have, that might explain why some of these people just feel like they need to cheat. Which there was an article on Forbes that went through some Destiny stats to remind you just how casual the user base is. And I'm not gonna read the whole article, but I will go through the stats. So, only 31% of Guardians have equipped a piece of exotic gear. 1/3 of the people playing the game have a piece of exotic gear equipped. Now, this information was like by counting achievements, by the way. So it doesn't mean that they don't have exotic gear equipped at the time. It means they've never put on a piece of exotic gear.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so a little more than 1/3. Then 23.8% of Guardians have worn legendary or exotic armor in every slot.
Hmm.
Wow.
23%. That's less than 1/4.
You can kind of tell that from there's a trophy that you can get for that shows that you have all exotic or I'm sorry, all legendary and or exotic gear.
Well, yeah, that's how they're counting this stuff. They're looking at the trophies
Mm.
overall.
I mean, so what is it? People just get the game, they play it for a while, and they stop playing it because you can't keep playing this game and not get either or.
Well,
Like,
I mean, I can tell you right now, it had to do with the amount of content. I mean, once you get past the PvE section, you go to the PvP section, and the problem is with the PvP section, there's just no balance. It's just you bring in Hawkamoon or Thorn or something like that, you're pretty much going to own most of these people.
right,
There's really no balance, so it goes into not a balanced PvP where it's supposed they're saying it's supposed to be balanced, but it really isn't.
Not
And
at
then
all.
and then
no,
you
it's not
have
balanced.
no or very little content for PvE. And then some of the best stuff in the game is locked behind a 6 team a fire team thing that you need, but there's
Right,
no matchmaking of any sort,
right,
which
right.
I understand. But at the same time, I would easily counter that by having the requirement of mics, and before you even do the whole thing for going into the for example, let's say there was matchmaking in VOG, it would test to whether or not you would have a mic on.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That would be.
That's forward thinking, and that's why you don't work for Bungie.
Mm.
That's why you don't work for Bungie.
That would be cool, man. I wouldn't mind that because
Mm-hmm.
some people like it's people that have never raided. They've never been able to.
Yeah, I think the
down.
number was what 17% of people have completed a raid.
I'm looking for it.
It's something along those lines.
19.2% of people have completed a raid.
So the number's pretty low, which doesn't surprise me that there's no raid in House of Wolves. I know a lot of people keep saying, "Oh, the raid was ready." Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But like when you have a three-man fire team, it's easier to put those people together than it is to put a six. There's times where I'm sitting in orbit for 30 minutes to get the 16 fire team ready to go.
Yeah, see, we try to do the same thing. We just like, fuck it, let's go to the Crucible.
Exactly.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like, I mean, I remember the first time I did Vault of Glass, I couldn't get a 16 fire team. I actually went to the Waking Ruins and I was just chilling there. I saw people, there was like 4 people that went in there, and I'm like, I'm here. And that's how I got into the Vault of Glass the very first time.
Oh wow! So you went through with people you didn't know?
Absolutely. People wow. My very first time, 10.5 hours. We took a break. I went to McDonald's, got the I got the football Eagles box that they had right there, and I was housing that because I was just frustrated. I was like, this is gonna make me fat. I don't care.
What the fuck am I supposed to do with the relic? I don't know.
Well, this was before anybody knew what to do. Nobody knew what to do. I was like, what's that glowing thing? Why does it say I'm marked for negation? I'm green.
Yeah. Why am I yellow? Frank?
I can only imagine. Died. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I can only imagine, man.
So I don't know. Part of it would be there has to be I go back to this. There has to be a mode either in Crucible or PvP. I'm sorry, PvE, where you can go in and it's just here's a shield, use it. Here's a sword, use it. Because that would be cool, a sword mode or a shield mode in PvP where it's like shield in the middle or sword in the middle, and everybody just rushes towards that like it's heavy ammo, and all of a sudden you're just slashing at people. It's like, anyway, just some sort of mode where you can use that. And the reason I go back to that is once people get comfortable with that, they're like, oh, okay, this is something that I'm going to be using in the raid. And then, I don't know, the whole, it's a puzzle where there's no voices. You just figure out what to do in the raid. That's cool, but at the same time, very off-putting for a lot of these people who go into for example, a strike where they're telling you exactly what to do. Is like, oh, take a left turn at Albuquerque and turn on that computer.
Right. It is a big
then all of a sudden you go to Vault of Glass. It's like
nothing.
Nothing. What do I do here?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And that leads back to the balance problem the game has.
That's not really a balance problem. That's more of Bungie didn't really do anything for that. It's just like, well, here's a puzzle, figure it out, which is cool in some respects, but at the same time, it limits the people who can actually do it. That number below 20% doesn't surprise me. Like I said, it's a very difficult thing to just go and get 6 people, even when you have all these friends on your friends list. After a while, I mean, the first time it took us almost 2 hours to put together a fire team. That was the second week that I did the raid.
Right. Yeah, that's just something I don't have patience for. I mean, I know I hit you up like once or twice. You are already in the middle of doing something. I was like, well, that's about as far as I'm going.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's not your fault. Let's see what else we got. Only 24.2% of Guardians have earned max Vanguards in a week, while 16% have maxed their Crucible marks in a week.
Yeah.
23.1% of Guardians has reached rank 3 Vanguard, And I'll be honest with you, like as a mostly a PvP player, it took me a while to reach max rank 3 Vanguard, and that goes doubly for my secondary characters because you rank up the other factions first. At least I do. And let's see, 16.9% of Guardians have maxed out a Warlock or Hunter subclass, and just 15.2 have maxed out a Titan subclass.
I'm interested to see the number for the people who have maxed out all three.
Yeah.
Because I can tell that that's below 10%.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Right now I'm having trouble maxing out my hunters. What's the shield one? I forget what it's called. Not the striker.
Oh, the defender.
The defender, yeah, because I just don't play with him enough.
You mean the Titan? Did you say hunter?
I said Titan. I think I said Titan.
I'm being weird. Anyway.
Maybe I said hunter. I don't know what I just said.
I think you did say hunter.
Okay then. Well then that jury says I said hunter. It's my fault.
That's why it's like hunter striker. What?
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah, my fault. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, we were talking about competitive Destiny. These stats show that there is no competitive Destiny. Like when your user base is this casual, I mean, you don't have players that are looking to make themselves better by any means, not necessarily by any means necessary, but by, looking at the meta of a game and then exploiting that. We see players cheesing stuff, but that's mostly design flaws on Bungie's part,
Quick question. Are there numbers that show how many people have completed raids and stuff? And I know it's not the same exact game type. For example, like a World of Warcraft or a Guild Wars. Because I'm interested to see how those numbers compare.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything from here.
Because I mean, I can definitely see, for example, the WoW community, there being a higher number of people who completed a raid there as compared to, Destiny, just because of the difficulty level and getting people together. So I'm interested to see how those two numbers compare, to see if it's one, a thing that Bungie's solely responsible for, or is it more of the trend of the style of gameplay, the massively, not massively multiplayer, but more of a giant world thing, community based thing?
I don't know. Like I just, it's difficult like to say. I mean, I mainly blame the casual player base on the fact that the game did not live up to expectations.
Mm-hmm.
The game's like shooting mechanics are so good. The game's shooting mechanics are probably the best I've seen on console.
Yeah.
Period. The shooting mechanics, the mechanics are so solid, and that's what keeps me going. Like this game has so much potential because of the shooting mechanics. This is from a PC gamer. You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm a PC shooter player, and the mechanics of Destiny are like the shooting mechanics and how the shooting works and shit like that works so well in Destiny. It's been keeping me hooked. That and the social aspect of it.
Right.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like the play, like I know in World of Warcraft, people are way more heavily invested in that, and even people who play by themselves still get involved with raids and PvP and stuff like that. Actually, I mean, the Wild Talk podcast, 3 of them are in the same guild, and Nick, he's not in their guild. He plays with them sometimes, but most of the time he plays by himself. And he still can do raids and stuff like that. Like this game does not really make it easy for people who want to play by themselves or not get associated with the guild. It doesn't make it easy for them to do stuff.
Right.
I think that's part of the problem. This is all Bungie's fault. All Bungie's fault. But yeah, we'll have that article in the show notes for anybody who wants to read the entire article. The last thing we're going to talk about is the changes they made to PvP. The big change being, well, 2 big changes. One, they added a timer to the ammo spawning crates. Which, I mean, to be honest, I don't necessarily like that, because now, like, when it gets to be like 15 seconds to the heavy ammo spawning, one of 2 things happens. one, you're going to have pretty much a timeout on both sides, where both sides are going to their crate, pretty much,
Right.
wherever they are. They're going to go to their crate and try to get it. Or two, you're going to have somebody come and try to disrupt getting the crate. Like, you're not going to have a constant fighting and then the crate comes and then chaos ensues. You know,
Right.
you're not going to have that one. What they took away was that one guy who would, like, you know, he's in the middle of a fight with a bunch of people, the crate spawns, and he just darts for the crate just to pop it open so they can't get it.
Right.
You know, that
Right.
doesn't really happen anymore. I'm not a fan of that. But the thing I'm even a bigger non-fan of is the fact that the special ammo spawns slower now.
Slower, and you get a lot less.
And you get a lot less.
Man.
Yeah.
I'm actually okay with that.
I mean, the reason I'm not okay with it because, like, the only, like, it was something that we didn't need. Like, that's not balance that the game needed. You know?
I disagree with that.
I don't think so. First of all, you have almost completely eliminated snipers. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, snipers were. That's not how you fix the problem with sniping. It's also not how you fix the problem with shotguns. The way you fix the problem with shotguns, which people were complaining, you know, about shotguns being too powerful at a long range, and that, you know, snipers were ridiculous because they could shoot you from across the map. The guns had no recoil and they shot fast. The answer is not to reduce how much ammo they have, but to actually adjust the guns, like they did with the fusion rifle. The fusion rifle was a huge issue because some of those fusion rifles had ridiculous range, fast charging times, and it was a one-hit kill. You know? So what did they do with the fusion rifle? Now when you're at a long range, it spreads out more. You know? That was a fix. I think that was a good fix because it does not completely eliminate fusion rifles from the Crucible.
No,
you know?
it definitely reduced their activity though.
It definitely reduced the activity, but for good reason. Like, now when somebody shoots you from a distance, you know, they like it's more fair because it spreads out more. But if they catch you mid range, that's a different story.
Yeah. See, for me, this update it did a couple things. First off, it's not the shotgun fest that it was before, where you would just go and just have nonstop shotgun ammo and like pra 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 pra. Unless you have the invective, which can charge ammo over time, which kind of negates the whole thing with the ammo box affecting you. Which I don't use invective that much anyway because there are better guns for Crucible. Sniper rifles or snipers, they haven't been eliminated at all. If anything, it reinforces using stuff such as Praetor's Revenge, which has low recoil, and other guns like Black Hammer, which isn't really a Crucible weapon, but its stability it is something that's pretty good and comparable to the Revenge. Like I mentioned, for me, it made secondary weapons what they're supposed to be, secondary weapons. You're supposed to be using your primary. When the game first came out, what's the point of using the primary weapons? There was no point. You had the one-hit kill option with the fusion rifle, the one-hit kill option with the shotgun, one-hit kill option with the sniper rifle. Why would you use a primary weapon?
But I don't get that. Like, are people not looking at their maps or radar when they're running around? I do all the time. Like, I never had a problem, like a big problem with people getting shotgunned to death. My big problem was with sniper rifles, and it wasn't even like the problem with the sniper rifles. I felt, one, they fire too fast. Two, there's very little recoil. But the big thing with sniper rifles is the fact that Bungie allows snipers to see directly into spawn areas. Like, they could sit almost every map. There's a place for a sniper to sit, and they can look and, you know, pluck people off as they're spawning. You know.
That's not. That is a problem, but it's not as big a problem as I thought it would be. It's just the biggest thing before the patch was I mean, most players were like this, and you can. I don't know if you can. You guys saw this or not. It was basically run shotgun, and just because basically you were using that radar to see how close you were to somebody, and then as soon as you turn the corner, fire. That's pretty much what Crucible was, I mean, my experience from what I saw, it was just run shotgun, and the way I negated that was, it's like, okay, you want to run in shotgun? I'm gonna take you out with my scout rifle. I just kept hitting people from a distance, and it would be the same, like the look that of when somebody activates arc blade from a distance, and you're like, okay, go ahead and activate it. Pra, 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 pra.
Yeah.
It's like, and they're dead. That's pretty much the same look I saw on these people's faces. They were just, I'm gonna keep running towards you, and by the time they're even close enough, they're already dead.
Right.
Now that they're like, okay, now I have to focus more on these primary weapons. You're seeing that a lot more. It's just a whole variety of primary weapons are coming out into play now. That wasn't the case before. Yeah, Red Death is still out there. Yeah, Suros is still out there, but now you're seeing options such as, especially a lot of Strangers rifles, which I know some people have gotten rid of. Strangers rifles are
I have one
they
left.
come back into play. A lot of people are using stuff such as the another NITC, nail in the coffin. If you guys didn't know what NITC stood for, a lot of Saturnine rapiers. Basically, the whole gamut of primary weapons have come into play. Whereas before, primary weapons, yeah, they were a viable option, but the game pretty much ran by you running towards somebody and shotgunning them.
That's true. I did see a lot of play like that before the patch. Like a lot of guys they would run and shotgun and then or warp or jump, double jump and shotgun.
Yeah.
So I have seen less of that now.
Yeah, the big thing that I saw before was a lot of people using blink strike to run to shotgun somebody, and now that's not as much an option because it's more of like, okay, I'm going to use a shotgun when they're up close. As a last, for me, my loadout would be, I have a secret handshake with full auto. I have my I love my Fang of Ute scout rifle because I put on the stability maxed out, and then I have my either a machine gun or a rocket launcher, depending on what bounty's there for that day. And I'm just sitting back and I'm just capping people off, getting my 2.31 kill death ratio without any problems.
That's a nice loadout. That sounds good.
You know, I don't see the thing. Maybe because I come from a competitive shooting background. Whenever I come across a problem in a shooting, the only time I will call for a nerf if there is there is a consensus that there is no way possible to fix this problem, you know. But as a competitive shooter, whenever I'm getting killed by something, I try to figure out, okay, what's the weakness in this method? So, for example, I know for a while, when me and Sage were playing, Sage, you remember this, I was getting pissed that people were not blank strike, but like warping up and then coming down with a shotgun. It was pissing me off big time. When's the last time you heard me complain about that?
I can't even remember. It's been a long time.
Yeah, and that's because I figured out while they're doing that, all I have to do is run underneath them and turn around. And by the time they turn around, I have my shotgun in their face and they die. You know, so
yeah, I did that the other day. It was satisfying.
Yeah,
it was very satisfying.
Yeah, so that's the thing. And even like with people who were running around and shotgunning, like, you know, or waiting around corners, like I approach them differently. The guys who run up and slide, I jump over those motherfuckers. Like, you know, like I do, like I figured out how to play around the way they play and kill them. And so that's why I guess that for me there was no need for them to change the amount of shotgun ammo. The only reason I'm pissed about it because the thing is, I still get the shotgun ammo. I get tons of shotgun ammo. Even with the reduction, it's rare for me to be out of shotgun ammo. The only thing that pisses me off is that when I'm taking shotgun ammo, because I literally, like, I have to have it, you know, like, 'cause I'm so low on it, that means my teammates aren't getting it either.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, that's the thing. Right? That's the only. That's my biggest pet peeve, that my teammates aren't getting their secondary ammo. You know,
See,
I mean,
go ahead.
What I was going to say was that reinforces the idea of more of trying to get more people to go into a fire team before you go into there. When you go in with randoms, you're going to see that whole thing where just people just get all these boxes without thinking about anybody else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See me, I'm an ammo conservationist anyway, so I don't just go around blowing ammo.
Right.
So I keep my ammo for a long time. Like I would say, most of my shotgun shots are kills. Or at least they're at least hits. They're at least hits.
Right.
And most of them are kills.
Right.
But
Pre-patch, you could definitely tell that wasn't the case. People were just going off and firing off their ammo with reckless abandon.
Right, and there's certain guns like Fellwinter's Lie where it was bullshit. You could be like, around
Holy
the corner.
Shit.
You could be like around the corner and somebody could like shoot you or just think about shooting you and you die. Like with Fellwinter's fucking Lie. So that's a gun itself that gun needed to be fixed.
That gun, oh my, dude hit me from down the block with one shot. I was like,
yeah, Fellwinter's Lie. That's a gun that needed to be fixed.
I don't know about that. I think the gun was fine. It was counteracted by the low fire rate and rate of fire. I mean, and the fact that you really didn't know what kind of roll you were going to get. So it could be completely amazing, or you just wipe out your entire inventory, make it amazing, and that's only if you get the right loadout.
Right. Well, a lot of people have the right loadout. I'll tell you that.
a
Yeah.
lot of people definitely had the right loadout.
Yeah, like Fellwinter's Lie is a problem, but for the most part, like I just like when people were using shotguns. Like my biggest thing was my bigger thing on the top of my list was fusion rifles. Then it was sniper rifles, and like I already explained, a lot of that has to do with the way Bungie made the maps.
Right.
And then I can't even say shotguns was on my list because if somebody killed me with a shotgun, most of the time I was pretty close to him.
Right. Yeah, you knew it was something you could have done differently.
Right. Yeah. So that's why I'm constantly looking at my radar, because when I get close, like when that red lights up, I'll probably switch to my shotgun, and then my movement will change. Like, it's not just switching to the weapon and hoping I kill before they do, but, jumping into position and, trying to see the place before you get in. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and that's what, there's a T-shirt that I had before. It was actually a fighting game T-shirt that, it had, it had the word Nerf scratched out. And it had the word underneath it said adapt, and that's kind of how I play. Like I adapt, and I'll only call for a nerf if if I think something is unchangeable. Like the some of the perks you can get on Fellwinter's Lie is ridiculous. Like for example, the Hawk Moon, having 3 bullets in a Hawk Moon that can do massive damage. Sage got one shot with a Hawk Moon the other day.
Yeah,
one shot, full armor, full shield. One shot with a Hawk Moon. That shit's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. I mean, that's a hand cannon. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
It's a hand, and it's not like the dude was like, it's not like he walked up to me and pressed it to my dome. Like he had range, like, and it was one shot, and that was it. Like, I mean, I just the Hawk Moon is just ridiculous all around. Like that gun is just ridiculous. Like I can't even say anything about it. It's just ridiculous. It's just a crazy gun, man.
Unless you suck, that's the only way the Hawk Moon is not ridiculous.
Right. But I think there should be guns like that are, that have that type of power because it makes it special when you get them. But at the same time, it's like it's got to be some type of downside to, or there's just balance, like we keep speaking on. Like you just got to have balance in the game to really negate cheesing with certain weapons.
Yeah.
Well, Crucible as it is will never be balanced. There's no way you can balance Crucible.
Right.
There is. We talked about it. They'll never do it though.
No, well, the only way you can balance it out is by having like I mentioned. You have a Crucible pistol or hand cannon, Crucible shotgun, Crucible this. Like you choose which one weapon for primary, one weapon for secondary, one weapon for heavy, and that's it.
Or
and
Crucible
that's specific
perks.
To Crucible. But
Crucible perks,
if you want to bring in your weapons, there's no way you're going to have a balanced Crucible. Absolutely not. None at all.
Yeah, because some of those weapons are built for PvE. They're built for blasting bosses that have, unbelievable amounts of health. But they can make perks different, like versus Guardians, versus entities of light and entities of darkness.
Mm,
Mm.
right.
There's just no way to balance out PvP as it is. You have to completely scrap it and make a completely new mode,
I'm good with that.
which I mean I would be okay with, but you know for a fact that Bungie would never do that
Of
because
course not.
it would change. It would make the guns feel less special. Number one, which means that people aren't going to try to get that weapon, which means that they're going to spend less time playing the game, which defeats the purpose originally. Um, like the only other way I can see them changing the game would be Crucible would be a specific sort of impact for hand cannons, specific sort of rate of fire, like all across the board. Like this is the rate of fire, this is the impact, this is this and that for all hand cannons for Crucible, and then your Iron Banner will be when things come into play.
Mm.
That's the only way you can have a balanced Crucible is by changing the stats all across the board. If you want to keep it as is, where a Thorn won't have that poison dart effect in Crucible, but for Iron Banner it will, something like that.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. You're right. I mean, some hard changes have to be made, but they're not going to do it anyway.
They'll never do that. As it is right now, I think Crucible is the most balanced it's been since ever. I personally like how it is right now. It makes special weapon feel just like that special. You're not going to go around just shooting off your weapons to try to get rid of it. Especially those people who had the Iron Banner. What's the name of the Iron Banner? Not fusion rifle. The Iron Banner sniper rifle. Anyway, that gun had the ridiculous perk where it would do double the damage once you get rid of for the last bullet, which would mean an instant kill no matter where it hits you.
Right.
You're not going to see those people doing it since they're only going to have one shot.
That's true.
So it makes all these weapons balanced out in the fact that you cannot abuse the perk, especially that last shot does additional damage perk, because you're just not going to have any more ammo then. And then you have to rely back on your primaries, which makes all those primary weapons a lot more useful and just valuable, especially
That's
for
a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I understand what you're talking about. It's like, oh, shotguns. If you were close enough to be hit by a shotgun, that's your own fault. But the problem is for some of these levels, especially the one on Mars, I forget the name, where you're going through. You have that center area inside the building.
Oh,
It's a
firebase.
lot. There's just a lot of close range combat. A lot of these, especially season one. I'm not talking about the DLC. The season one, the original base package. A lot of these Crucible arenas were primarily were focusing on one giant, one close area. There were very few open areas. The one on Earth, yeah, that one was pretty open, but a lot of people just stayed inside the building and took out from there, unless you were going to B, in which case you were just going to get destroyed and demolished. Which ended up everybody went to B in one big group, and it ended up being another close range fest. You're not really sniping.
No, I mean, I see what you're saying. I still think that would, like, if people adjusted the way they played, it would be unnecessary. But it's like I said, we just talked about how casual the game is,
Mm-hmm.
And I come from a competitive shooting background, which is about as uncasual as you can get, Like
Right.
my whole approach to shooters is different than a lot of people.
Right. I'm coming from the side of where I see people, especially in the group that my clan, the Technodrome. A lot of those people, they're just like, I won't play PvP because I go in there, it's just nonstop shotguns, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. It's like I'm over here, I'm trying to shoot somebody with my scout rifle, and then they shoot me twice with a hand cannon, and I'm dead. And I see what they're talking about, because they're completely frustrated. They're like, this isn't fun. I'm always dying, and I'm trying to hit them from a distance, and and I'm doing damage, and all of a sudden they're running towards me and they hit me with a shotgun. Ever since the patch, I've gotten that complaint less, and I've had the same people who would never set foot into Crucible. All of a sudden, they're like, okay, it's more balanced now. It's more of team focused. Like, we have to conserve ammo. If we work as a team and we all get the same ammo at the same time, then we're gonna be fine. So like we're rolling as a squad more, and I think that these changes that Bungie added into the game, on top of some other minor changes which we haven't talked about, which are very valuable for PvP, made the game more focused around the team. Even when I'm playing against with randos, like they're staying close to me. All of a sudden, I've seen that more than it was before.
Yeah, there is. It does feel different.
For me anyway. It's a completely different feeling for Crucible, where it feels more team oriented than it was before.
Yeah,
Before the patch, it was just like I'm doing my own thing. If you guys are with me, that's cool, but I'm gonna be over here.
that
Now,
is true. Like I see a lot more people. Like I mostly play with randoms if I'm not, playing with people I actually know.
mhm,
I see a lot more people waiting for for the heavy and secondary ammo. Like
mhm,
if somebody is running to it, like they wait now, and I didn't see that at all before. Really, like
mhm.
people would just grab it and go. But now I see a lot more people moving together and waiting for the ammo to drop.
One big change, which was with the patch, which we haven't talked about, for Titan, for their bubble, now there's an audio cue of when the bubble is going to end. And that's really
Mm.
big. I play with Defender Titan for Crucible just because I can get so many kills with that. It's hilarious. It's so fun. They're running. I'm like, punch you, punch you, punch you. I'm just generating orbs every time I kill with the punch. But go ahead, keep coming, keep coming.
I
Yeah,
don't.
for me. Crucible has become a more team-oriented game, and the changes that they've made, while drastic, they've made the game more, for me anyway, more enjoyable, and I see more variety in weapons.
That's true. The most frustrating thing that I had since this patch was and that's just because I was doing a thorn bounty, like because I had to use the shotgun, and
Hmm.
I was constantly running out of ammo because that's all I could use besides my heavy,
Hmm.
But other than that, I haven't really been frustrated with
Yeah,
with.
that's one thing that they really should have patched. They shouldn't have made the amount of kills, or left those amount of kills as is. I'm pretty sure that they're going to patch that soon and to change it, because that's a little ridiculous. Even if you have, for example, Word of Crota or Atheon's Epilogue, it's still a challenging thing to go around and for that thorn bounty. Thank God I had that thorn since long ago, and I didn't have to worry about it.
Right,
But
yeah,
I can definitely see why that particular bounty would piss a lot of people off.
yeah. Like I was just doing it, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm out of ammo!" Like, and I had to wait around, and I'm like watching my back because I had to wait for the ammo. Like, it totally changed the way I was playing, but it made it more interesting because I really, really had to be careful because I couldn't die because it would be a setback, and I had to use my shotgun, which it just made me play differently.
Hmm.
So I mean, it was definitely interesting, but I could see it. It's already a frustrating bounty as it is, but even with these changes, it just piles onto it.
Yeah, I'm still not buying it. No, I think it's just really because of the way I play. I rarely run beforehand. Before the patch, I would rarely get crates because the only reason I would actually get crates was to stop the enemy from getting crates. Other than that, my shotgun ammo or my secondary ammo was pretty full most of the time. With this one now, I'll have to get a crate every now and again, but I guess I just don't use my shotgun that much. I mean, I do get a lot of kills with it, but comparatively, like I get more kills with my primary weapon, especially when I use the thorn because like I've fought people at like close to mid range with a shotgun. Let's say closer range, where I'm like moving back and shooting them, and they're still trying to shoot me with the shotgun, and I still get a kill.
Right. Yeah. Same here. I get the most of my kills with my primary, which is I'm either using Red Death or whatever else I have.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, if it's working out for something, that's great, but I don't think it was needed. Like it caters to more to the casual, but that shouldn't surprise me.
Another update that a lot of people don't realize, the Pocket Infinity, the whole thing doesn't. It's not as glitchy as it was before. That's especially important for PvP. The one update was Pocket Infinity behavior is less likely to fail during edge case conditions. So it's a more stable gun now than it was before. There were a lot of issues with Pocket Infinity, that it's taken up until this update to completely fix.
Dude, Pocket Infinity was a killer.
That
Like
oh
if Pocket
my
Infinity
God.
was on trial, it would have been gone. Like
The original Pocket Infinity.
throw him under the jail.
Yeah, the original version of Pocket Infinity was absolutely ridiculous, and then the updated version, while not as OP, was still crazy. Because you're basically just and then it got weird because there were some issues with the ammo. Then there were issues with it wouldn't fire right. It would just shoot one, and then that'd be it. So I think they've gotten Pocket Infinity back to where it's a usable gun.
Mm. Well, I haven't seen it a lot, so we'll see. The next time I get killed by it, I'll let you know.
Yeah,
I can change that for you.
Oh yeah. All right, let's move on to our House of Wolves coverage here, or a recap of coverage, because
Mm-hmm.
the information's been out. So official release date May 19th, which I mean that wasn't that the
That was the leaked
release date.
Mm-hmm.
So they were right about that. House of Wolves will not have a raid. It's getting something called the Prison of Elders, which is, from what we can gather, is a horde mode. But it's dynamic, I guess. Maybe they have a few different arenas.
Well, the big rumor about it is it was originally called what? The Arena, right?
Yeah.
Then it's confirmed to be Prison of Elders. The big thing is they could be two different things, because the game was originally going to have a raid. That is confirmed. Now, due to changes, due to either Activision saying no, or just Bungie deciding this is more valuable to the core experience because we want more people who are casual, this to be the intermediate thing between a strike and a raid. Whatever it is, it's now Prison of Elders being this. Per people who have played the demo or the beta of House of Wolves, it's a better experience doing the Prison of Elders than it was the Crota raid.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they haven't said specifically what the activity is, but people such as King Gathalion, who was on the original on the Reef reveal, as I mentioned, for the Destiny IGN podcast, a couple of those guys, they've said it's a better experience than the Crota raid. In fact, everybody's just been glowing about the Prison of Elders. Makes me think that it's a combination of raid, strike, and horde mode, where, for example, like one person does one thing while the other two actually attack. It could be something like that. Kind of like, the experience when you're leaving, when you're in the Atheon fight, where one person has a shield while the other two people have to take out the oracles. It's a team mode thing like that, which wouldn't work in a strike because you have to have communication.
Yeah.
Something like that. I could see something definitely along those lines where, I don't know, I'm carrying a chain chomp and you guys have to throw fire flowers. Obviously, that's not going to be in Destiny.
Yeah.
but something along those lines, I could definitely see that. And everybody's saying that this game mode is completely worth it. And when they finally reveal what it is that you guys are going to be like, okay, I'm okay with there not being any raid.
I hope so. Because like I mean dude, after the Dark Below, like they really can't have a shitty second expansion. You know? And
Mm-hmm.
everything we've heard so far sounds like Dark Below Part 2 in terms of content. It's like you get 3 missions, there's 2 strikes, you get like, another heiress. We get the Reef, but the Reef just seems like, you get another faction. Like it's
Two
just not
factions.
2 factions. Sorry, you get another 2
Actually,
factions.
three. I'm sorry.
3 factions. What's the third faction?
Well, you got the Petrovenge, which is the Queen's bounty or the Queen's wrath. You have the Varix, the loyal, who's the warden of the prison of elders. He's the what is the fallen faction, and then you have the Trials of Osiris. That's a third faction. So you have 3 different things who are going to have 3 different bounties and 3 different things they have to level up.
Gotcha. But still, it's just more grind. They're bringing more grind to you with all that.
Right.
You know. Well, yeah. I mean, ultimately, that's what it is. It's just grinding. With the exception of Trials of Osiris, we'll get into that, a little bit. But it's a lot. It's just a lot of grinding. The key, it's more busy work. That's the thing. Like a lot of the stuff in Destiny, and especially in the Dark Below, it brought a lot of busy work. Like I'm glad they're getting rid of commendations. And I'm glad because it was so stupid to begin with. It was annoying at first. Now I have so many, I really don't give a fuck.
See, but to be fair though, my impression from looking at the stuff is that they've removed a lot of the grinding. When you look at, let's just look at the weapons. There's not as many like. In fact, I don't see any upgrade damage spots on any of the new weapons. It's just straight up. It's the weapons 365. You unlock perks, and you use just regular glimmer, like 500 glimmer to unlock that spot. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. So while yes, you're gonna have to level it up, there might be different ways of leveling it up. This gun requires you to infuse it with something from here. So you do 3 story missions, each completely unrelated, which might level up that gun completely, and then all of a sudden you take that to PvP or Trials of Osiris or something like that. So I mean, I get what you're saying, that you don't want it to just be a complete grind, but like, what do you mean exactly by grind? Because at a certain point, I'm just doing the story missions to level up, and then I'm doing something else, and then I take that to go do something else. That's how I see what a lot of the House of Wolves is going to be, where it's a different way of leveling up stuff, and not so much I'm just going to keep doing this to get this leveled up.
Right. Well, I mean, whenever you see factions like the whole like with Dark Below, Eris Bounty, that was just a big grind, and it took so long, like to get that done, man. Like you had to do that shit like almost every day for weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And that was not cool. Because a lot of the stuff wasn't fun to do.
Right.
And I think that's mainly the big takeaway from the Dark Below or the Darkness Below.
Dark Below.
Yeah, the Dark Below, I said it right the first time. But a lot of that expansion was not fun. That's the thing. The stuff that you had to do was not fun. Both strikes, not fun to do. Whenever like oh god, we just talked about the strike with
Well, there's Undying Mind, which is the one on Mars, and then there's the Will of Crota, which is the Omnigul strike.
Yeah, the Omnigul strike. So Will of Crota, anytime I see that, I have to do that strike. Oh my god, I don't want to do it, even with burns. And if there's no burns, I probably won't do it.
See, if it's no burn and it's a nightfall, yeah, that's definitely a grind and a half. Now, the strike by itself, I don't mind. I actually enjoy that strike a lot because it's a glimmer factory. You go in there, there's a whole bunch of majors, and you're like, okay, pra pra pra. I think it was more well thought out, and it was trying to add more to the story, which is why it was the way it was.
See, for me, it just seemed like they wanted to throw enemies at you, and it like even like in terms of fun, like the Crota strike the Crota raid that's not a fun raid to do, in my opinion. I mean, the first part is cool, But after that, it's just to me, it's not a fun raid. Not like Vault of Glass. Like Vault of Glass is a fun raid, and that is a fun fight, man.
See,
That's a fun fight at the end.
I think it's more indicative of the type of enemy though. The Hive aren't a powerhouse outside of the knight who could take bullets, but outside of that, I mean, they really don't have a lot of enemies that could take a lot of bullets. You have to add a lot more enemies. That's just how the Hive are. It's more of like a whole bunch of like the Zerg. That's pretty much they are. Whereas the Vex are more Protoss, like fewer enemies, but they will hit you hard. Like here comes out of nowhere, Minotaur teleports out behind you, people's elbow, you're dead. It's like, oh no.
Well, see, in my opinion, the Vex are easier to kill, with the exception for the Minotaur. The Minotaurs are annoying because of that warping shit they do. Yeah. But in terms of the most Vex enemies, like their weak spot is in their body.
Right.
Know?
But you have to admit, a Vex Goblin will take more hits than a freaking Acolyte. An Acolyte, you can punch him and he's dead. And a Goblin, you punch him, he like looks back at you, does a little hand slap, then you have to punch him again. He might be dead or have his head gone. So I mean, it's all like the one thing I will say, the two strikes definitely took the personality of the enemy that it was. For example, Vex, very methodic, robotic, different. It was more timed, like when you're doing the whole three, defending the three confluxes.
Yeah,
like it's just very methodical and thought out. Whereas the Hive, if you had something like that, it wouldn't fit with the enemy type. That's not to defend the raid. The raid should have been approaching them in a different way, where you're kind of like I said, running away from a big giant ogre that you really can't kill using your speeders, and going through trying to avoid these different rocks, because if you hit the rock, you stop, all of a sudden the ogre's behind you, falcon punch, you're dead. Something like that would have been cool. Just dealing something they didn't think it just wasn't a well thought out raid. Whereas because Vault of Glass was thought out from the Jump Street, they had a lot more time to really put that one together. Whereas Crota was kind of like, oh, we have 2 months to put this together. Let's go.
Nah, that's the thing. Like, they didn't have 2 months to put the Crota together, because as soon as the main development on Destiny stopped, they started working on the DLCs. Like, they probably, I mean, the concept for the DLC, like for even this DLC, was done probably before Destiny even came out. Because that's how their teams work. But it should, I don't know. Like, well, first of all, I mean, I think we can all agree that these expansions they're putting out feel like they should have been in the game in the first place. Like, this doesn't feel like new content. And the thing is, I think the only thing they really had to work on, or the reason why this expansion got delayed, is because of how poorly the Dark Blow was received. And they knew they had to make some changes, which is probably why we're not getting a raid in this one. We're probably getting, we're getting the Prison of Elders instead, And they probably had to make some changes, like based on some feedback that they got. Like, okay, well, now the game is too grindy. We're gonna take this out. We're gonna take that out, and that's why it was pushed back in the first place. But the content, I mean, like shit. I mean, we can go to the places that the expansion takes place. We could have did that months ago.
I think they had everything. They had an outline for everything, but I don't think they had it, finalized by exactly what you were going to do. So, I think the main thing that has to do with these expansions or whatever, I think the best thing to take away is the feedback and the adjustments they make that come along with these.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, I don't know if you saw the video or not, or even attempted to do it. They definitely changed a lot of the things for this DLC. Before, if you were to able to, it's not really hack. You'd basically jump over or jump on top of certain things. When you go into the one area on Venus, where there's those 2 level 20 Minotaurs that you could just run right by, and if you go right behind them,
I kill them every time.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but there's a staircase that goes right behind them, and it goes into an area where there's this big giant teleporter that's surrounded by an armor piece.
Yeah.
If you jumped in there before, the area was just a giant area where it's all glowing and stuff, and yeah, it looked like a Vex, tower or whatever, but it didn't have much personality. Now, if you go in there, it's darker, it's grimier. There's like it feels like a completely different area. And I'm pretty sure the other place on the moon also changed a lot, where you go into the skiff, where you're supposed to go into a skiff or a catch. I'm sorry, and it's a completely different area as well. Um, yeah, they definitely changed a lot of the stuff. Especially the one on the moon. I remember when I went into it. There were two chromed out fallen walkers, the devil walkers.
Yeah.
That were in the walls, and they were just chilling there. And I'm looking at this like that's kind of cool, but they definitely changed basically all that stuff out, and they've made it a different area now. Um, they definitely put in a couple months worth of work.
Well, like I said, they changed things for sure. They changed things for sure, probably based on the feedback they were getting, and they had some new ideas. But it's not like they had to start from scratch.
Maybe not from scratch, but they definitely they kind of tore it down. They're like, okay, this is what it was before. We're changing it completely, because the new area on Venus is way different. It's almost like a new area. I could definitely see them using some concept art, but outside of that, it's a completely new area. Whereas the ones for Dark Below, I honestly could see them doing it there, doing all that stuff maybe 2-3 months before the game came out, or starting out to do it. This one, it feels like they had to put months of work into it.
Okay. Well, like I said, they definitely have a change, but I think they already had to have a plan in place for this stuff.
All I know is that either a week or two before the reveal for where they put that one video out for House of Wolves, where it was the main guy the main bad guy who's gonna be for House of Wolves, plus the servitor.
Yeah.
The one girl who does the voice for the queen, I forget her name. She put on Twitter, I just finished up doing voice recording for House of Wolves. I'm excited for you guys to know what's going on with the queen.
When did you say she did that?
Like a week or two before the reveal.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not like it's unheard of to have somebody come in and do some re-records.
Yeah, but no, she did the whole thing like from that point. Like it wasn't a re-record. It was they changed the story, and they did a lot of stuff.
All right. Well, time will tell. We'll see. We'll see if it's actually like worth it. I mean, like if they have another expansion, like going back to my original point, if they have another expansion that is not spectacular, then I think like Destiny's going to be in a lot of trouble.
I honestly think this DLC is changing how Destiny is being played.
We'll see. I mean, they're saying that the Prison of Elders is going to change from week to week.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know how many variations you're going to have. If you're going to have 4 variations, which means once a month, now, you basically play one variation of it a month. Like, I don't know if that's going to be enough. Are they just trying to hold people over until September when Comet or whatever it's called is supposed to come out? That's the thing about Destiny, it's extremely repetitive. That's the thing. And the only reason why, I still play is because I have friends that play it and we socialize on it.
Right.
See, here's the thing though, like when you do the raid, let's just say the first, not even go to Crota's End, but like the first raid, it was a pretty set experience. Like that's the same experience you're going to have every single time. I didn't see that complaint. It wasn't until Crota came out where everybody's like, yeah, this is just annoying the way they did it. If it changes once every week and you're going to have different people, like you're only going to be able to do it once a week, kind of like the raid. And you have different people going in with you every single time, since you're only going to have 3 people this time. Right. I would definitely say the experience completely changes every single time you play it. For example, what I would do with certain people, I would just me, I would take more of a lead with certain people, or with other people, I'd be like, okay, I'll let you lead this time because you have such and such outfit or weapon that would benefit this situation more, something like that.
Right. I mean, obviously, the people you play with, it makes a difference.
Right.
Right.
But I'm talking about from a pure like game perspective.
I
That
mean, if you've been following and playing this game for this long, I mean, you pretty much know what you're getting into. I mean, as far as people who, like I said, have been there since the beginning, I think the game it hasn't, it's not a totally different game than when it first came out, but it definitely has gone through transitions. And I think them learning from the Dark Below, I think this expansion will be taken a lot better. I think it'll get a lot, since I think they actually did learn from the things that they messed up on with Dark Below.
Is it sad that as soon as he said transition, I automatically thought of Bruce Jenner? I'm
was.
terrible. I know. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. He's a woman now. Good for him. That's terrible. Yeah, I mean, back to the main game. I just in the changes alone that they're. Let's run through them real quick. Speaker is gonna be the new Erisborn. Basically, he's gonna be able to change items from Ascendant Shards to Ascendant Energy, and same thing with Radiant. And also, you can get Glimmer from him for Ascendant materials and Motes of Light. Motes of Light are going to be used all over the place now, to the Gunsmith, to Trials of Osiris, supposedly, to upgrading materials, to doing a whole bunch of things now. It's not just going to become a stagnant thing where you can buy cloaks and not much else. Or yeah, that one thing from Zur. But other than that, you weren't really doing anything with Motes of Light. Now you kind of have to decide, well, if I buy this one cloak, I'm not going to be able to do Trials of Osiris this week. Um, so I definitely think that they're making it so that all that old stuff that you had before, all that stuff that you collected becomes valuable in different ways. Whether you want to upgrade your weapons or whether you want to take them to buy certain things or buy entrance into certain things. I mean, I think it's an interesting concept for Destiny that changes how you approach the game now, where you're going to be more cognizant of what you have in your inventory rather than how it is right now, where the only thing you're paying attention in regards to what's in your inventory is if you have enough heavy ammo synthesis.
I think another big thing is when you talk about grind work. I think the fact that you know the fact that you can upgrade your weapons and you don't have to worry about them totally being reset.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big thing too. That I think that pissed a lot of people off, and it just made you play the game more just for no
Yeah.
reason.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Dark Below brought a lot of grind with it,
Yeah,
and
Yeah,
that was one of the things.
that was by design, unfortunately.
yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
this, basically, if you have a maxed out 300 or 331 exotic, the second you put that upgrade thing on there, where you just use one exotic shard, couple glimmer, and a couple pieces of weapon parts, you have a 365 from Jump Street from day one. I can see people, the first guns they're going to upgrade: Yellowhorn, Icebreaker, what is it? Vex Mythic class, pretty much probably in that order. And then they'll worry about what they want to do with the other stuff, because now you can't just go and upgrade everything and that be it. No, 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 no. Because then if you do that, oh, you can't upgrade your armor. Oh, you can't upgrade this. You have to wait till next week. Oh, you gotta wait. You gotta do something else to get shards. So like I mentioned, it's like, even though it eliminates like a lot of the stuff in terms of grinding, it makes you think more of what you have. So I can see a lot of people definitely right now, they're going to be quote unquote grinding to get themselves prepped for House of Wolves, so that they have a lot of stuff. I mean, I've people used to skip the one chest in Vault of Glass, that wasn't the exotic chest, the other chest. They used to skip that. Now people are going for that chest. They're getting those shards. They're getting that energy. And I think it's a good move because basically fog gear is going to be desirable again.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Because I would say the frequency of people doing Vault of Glass, like, definitely
Plunged.
plunged. Yeah, I know our group they stopped doing Vault of Glass a month ago. Well, not a month ago, but months ago. Sorry.
Yeah, it took a big hit.
I definitely know that as soon as they announced that your VOG gear could beat 34, the numbers for people who want to do VOG went up, and now people are actually getting those armor pieces that they deleted a long time ago because they loved how they look, but if it was level 30, it was completely useless to them.
Oh yeah, like, and I agree. The fucking I don't know, man. Like that, the Crota raid gear, I don't like the way it looks. Like I got it to get the 32,
The,
but but
the worst piece was that Warlock chest piece.
oh
Oh
god, it
God.
looks terrible.
Oh, that was the worst
That
thing.
was the worst piece. Even with a black shader, it
Yeah.
looked horrible.
As soon as I got which surprise, which I don't know if we talked about it last time, the last Iron Banner when they actually sold a chess piece, I was like, oh, I'm getting the one for the Warlock because I can't stand looking at my guy over here with that Victorian crap.
Yeah, dude, it looked like when I put the like the thunder
Yeah.
shader on it, and it looked like Derelict from Zoolander.
No,
Like it looked terrible.
you know what it looked like. Even though my Warlock's a male, looked like looked like Cinderella had a bad day. That's pretty much what happened there. It's like, yo, those rats didn't do right with that dress.
You know what it looks like? I had like a purplish shader,
Mm-hmm.
and it looked like Prince from it looked like Prince. That's what it looked like. It looked like some shit that Prince would wear. It looked like Dave Chappelle from his Prince skit.
Oh snap!
That's what it looked like.
Yo, I have the Revenant shader, and even that couldn't make it look good.
Oh yeah, you know, I would wear that shit with the purple shader, and then I'd beat somebody in Crucible and ask them if they wanted some pancakes.
Damn.
You know, bitches.
Now the stuff in Vault of Glass is really, it's really cool. And
Yeah.
a little heads up warning: if you guys like some of this, the way some of the Vanguards and Crucible stuff looks like now, buy it now because from what I'm seeing, the second House of Wolves come, all that stuff's gone. All those weapons are gone. All those armors are gone. Everything's gone.
Yeah, the armor I'm not too concerned about. It's like the weapons. I would want to get some of the weapons.
The only weapon I'm interested in picking up is to the Morgue, the shotgun. In terms of armor, I kind of like how some of the Crucible main Crucible God Lord Shaxx stuff looks like. Because
Right.
some of this, I know for a Titan, it has that fur thing around his neck, and he kind of looks pimp and stuff like that.
Oh
It's
yeah, I
like
kill people who wear that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't. I see it sometimes, but I only see it like like because I'm really up close to them when I'm killing them with my shotgun.
Right.
So that's how I notice it.
Right.
But I don't have it myself.
Yeah, I mean, I like how a lot of that stuff looks like, but it was completely useless because you're like, oh, this won't give me the 32, so I'm not going to use it.
Right. Well, no, I used to like I got a different chest piece for my warlock too. Thankfully, it's exotic. You know, we didn't. Nobody really talked about that. You know what? Was something nobody really talked about? They put a patch in that changed the perks on a lot of armor.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't hear too much about that
That's
because
right.
the armor piece that I had, my chest piece, one of the big perks was that Axiom bolt split 3 bolts instead of 2,
Mm-hmm.
and it just went away. Now it chases people for
You're
longer.
talking about the Void Fang vestments?
I think that's what it was.
They changed it so that now it tracks further.
Yeah, it tracks further, but I liked it because I'm like, oh, now I can kill 3 people.
You know, I actually this is gonna sound weird, but I use the Void Fang vestments with my Sunsinger because every time you die, you spawn with full grenades, and if you have 2 grenades, that 2 grenade perk, it has both grenades in there.
Oh yeah,
So when I spawn, I have the firebolt grenade. I just fire both firebolt grenades. It's an instant kill. And if
Yeah.
there's 2 or 3 people there, all 3 people are dead.
That is interesting. Yeah, I stopped using Sunsinger in my in the Crucible because actually once I switched over to my Hunter and my Titan, I would see people res all the time, and I would just keep killing them, and I'm like, maybe I should stop using Sunsinger. And that's when
Yeah.
I started using Void Walker, and that actually worked out much better for me in Crucible, much better.
Yeah, I don't use the self res. I use the extra armor, and then I'll just I'll just keep chucking grenades, making people pray that they didn't stay next to me.
Right, I love when people res after I kill them.
Yeah,
Love it.
right now I'm trying to max up my Titans Crucible score to get that Grimoire score up. So I haven't used a Warlock in a while.
Okay. Now, did we talk about the fact that the gunsmith can reforge any House of Wolf weapon?
House of Wolves DLC weapons, yes.
Yeah.
That
I'm sorry. You go ahead. You go ahead first.
it's a good thing and a bad thing. And I will say this, like in the base package and Crota the Dark Below, at least those weapons had their own personality. Now it's the rush to get the best perks, the shot package, the auto fire, the whatever you want. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I will say this: they added a whole ton of new perks.
They did.
There's a buttload of perks. That means that you're not going to have the quote unquote best version of that shotgun no matter what, because a perk can mix with another perk and make it completely OP in one way, and 2 other perks can mix in another way to make it completely OP in another way.
So you mean you can have the same weapon be OP in multiple ways?
Exactly.
That does not make me feel good.
It'll change the way people play in Crucible, definitely. It could make one gun up close and personal, another, and then that same exact gun a distance killer. So it really depends on what kind of perks you have now.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I don't like it is the fact the reforging of weapons is how we get Fellwinter's Lie and other weapons. Like what gun did they give out? Not it had to be at least 2 Crucibles ago. There was a hand cannon that you could turn almost into a Hawk Moon.
Teamer's Lash.
Teamer's Lash. When you reforged it, and I'm like, that's the thing that pisses me off. Like I like the Crucible's already unbalanced as fuck, you know, and then now with these weapon reforges, it just makes it even worse. That's why I'm not a big fan of weapon reforging. Make a balanced weapon and then give that out. Like, don't make a shitty weapon, make a balanced weapon and then give it out.
Now, there is a rumor that will potentially bug me if it's true. Supposedly, what were supposed to be the raid weapons, which is now the Prison of Elder weapons that you get from the Varix the Loyal.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly, it's not a set stat. For example, you know how there's the Arc version and the Void version and the Solar version of Fellwinter's Lie.
Aww.
Now there might be, like, let's just use Fang of Ute. There might be a Solar version, an Arc version, and a Void version of Fang of Ute.
Gotcha. Well, they do for probably example, Pocket Infinity for the longest time was a Void weapon, and now it's a Solar weapon.
It's always been a Solar weapon.
Well, Sage, don't you have one that's Void?
Oh no, that's the what's the name of that fusion rifle?
Plug One.
Plug One, yeah.
There we go. Sorry, that's the one that they changed. They didn't change Pocket Infinity. They changed Plug One. Plug One was Void, and now it's like Solar.
No, well, Plug One, you can get one of all 3. But the raid weapons were always a specific damage type.
Right.
Like you'll never have an Arc version of Atheon's Epilogue or an Arc or Solar version of Atheon's Epilogue. With this new raid, there's a potential for there to be that raid's version of, I'm sorry, not raid, whatever kind of activity they want to call it. there's the potential for a solar version of Atheon's Epilogue, or solar version, or void arc version of Atheon's Epilogue that wasn't there before.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure how I feel about that rumor, because I could definitely see it happening. And supposedly you can reforge these weapons.
Right.
So we'll see.
I don't know. Is that a big problem? Like, I don't know. I don't see what the big problem
Well,
is. Well, besides the fact of reforging and something becoming OP, but go ahead. Yeah.
well, here's the thing. It introduces two things. Because the update was meant to have your old weapons match up to the new weapons, right? So you can have a 365 version of an Atheon's Epilogue. But what would be the point of even doing that if you get a weapon that has better perks, same type, void version, and then you can get the arc version and the solar version, and you're looking at that Atheon's Epilogue like, well, what was the point of that? And then you delete it again.
That's true. You got a point.
So I mean, it has the potential to be a good thing, but at the same time, it also has the potential to remove any goodwill that you had towards getting those old weapons back. Armor, I could see, it's just strictly a look version, a look thing. Whereas the weapons, if this is true, I don't know.
No. Well, I mean, I guess. I mean, I can understand your concern. It's not that big of a deal to me. That I could think of. Like, I mean, whatever weapon's better, that's just the one I'm going to use.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But no, I do get what you're saying though. Yeah, I just don't like the fact of reforging of with the perks, because I've seen, like, there's so many guns. There's so many guns that just overpower. Like, Destiny has a problem with OP weapons, and they don't know how to balance them properly.
I mean, yeah. What I'm afraid of this game doing is going down the road of Borderlands, where it has literally 10,000 weapons, where only 30 of them are useful. At least now, there's a good amount that are still useful, legendary and exotic.
Right.
There's a lot of times there's some legendaries that are way better to use than any exotic in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, with these reforging, there's always a possibility where certain guns become completely useless, and then certain guns become completely awesome.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the useless part. I'll tell you that much.
Right.
But like when somebody does hit that jackpot, it's another thing that takes skill away from Destiny. Having somebody run into the Crucible with an overpowered weapon, and then they think they bad because they're getting kills, but that's not the case.
Yeah, it's just good fortune and just luck.
Yeah, like if I kill somebody with the thorn, I can't even gloat about it unless it's a bullet kill. You know what I'm saying? Like, I shot them and they died, or it's a headshot. But if I just let somebody burn out, it's just like, I'm moving on to the next person, because maybe I can actually kill them like a man. But yeah, that's the thing.
I mean, only thing I could say about a weapon like the Thorn or Pocket Infinity is that you definitely had to put in some work to get it. So that makes it a little bit. It makes it a little better, but I definitely understand what you're saying. Like, I just think if you put in the work for some of these weapons, like it definitely it pays off and is worth it. But like I still understand what you're saying. Like some shit is just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, Felwinter's Live, for example, that was just making sure you stayed in the Iron Banner for the week.
Right.
You stayed in the Iron Banner. Like, it's not like, the Thorn, where you actually had to go and get X amount of kills and not die and change the way you play, stuff like that. Like,
but now I don't know if you guys remember, like, when exactly did Felwinter's Lie enter the Iron Banner? Like, what time did that appear?
Third version?
The third, and the last one was the fourth, right?
I think that was like the fifth.
Oh, okay, it was the fifth. Okay.
I want to say the third version or third or fourth version was when it was the same time that Teamer's Lash came out. Because I remember
Mm.
both guns being there. The last version had that auto rifle, which was just high rate of fire, nothing else good about it. No, correction, that was the one before. The last one was when they brought back the machine gun.
Yeah.
Because the machine gun came out in the second one. And I
Okay.
remember having that one. Um,
Yeah,
I
because
actually
no,
I
go
like
ahead,
the
go ahead.
machine gun.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that. I definitely played until I got that. But reason I asked is because I didn't see the Fell Winters Lie a lot before. I think it seems like a lot of people waited to reforge it this last Iron Banner, and then they got what they wanted, and then they went crazy.
Well, what happened was the original version that he sold was absolutely ridiculous. It had shot package where you zoom in and the ranging was ridiculous. And then it
Mm,
had something else on it. So that's the like if you had that version of the shotgun, you were pretty much set and you didn't have to really reforge that gun.
mm,
Now, you were able to get it again through a drop in the fifth version. Like
mm.
he didn't sell it again, but you could get it as a drop. So that's why a lot of people were just continuously reforging that gun until it gave them the perfect drop.
Mm. Yeah, because I have that shotgun, but
Hmm.
for me it's not. I think I might even have two. I think I got one from a drop and one I bought when it was up there. But like for me, it's not even worth really using because I don't have it. The fire rate is so low that if I miss or I'm not close enough, like I'm dead. I'm pretty much dead. So
Yeah, that if you have a gun like that, that's perfect. And it sounds weird, but it's perfect for a warlock because then you fire it and then you finish them off with the melee
with the
attack.
melee, right? Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm used to doing anyway, just firing my shotgun and then finishing them off with a melee. When sometimes the better option would be just to fire a second shot. For me, I could get away with that because I'm sounding all uppity now, but my version of Fell Winter's Lie has the auto fire, which doubles the fire rate,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
whereas
That's the king.
your version of the weapon would be better off on a warlock who has a longer range with his
Right.
melee attack.
Right.
So
Right.
it
Right.
wouldn't work as well for a hunter or a titan. So it really like the rerolls help and hurt different types of characters. The one thing I do wish that they would do, which they're not going to do in this update, at least they should do it in Comet or whatever they want to call it in the fall, is add more diversity to the classes so that there's, especially for the warlock, because outside of once they get rid of once you don't have the burn or whatever on your melee attack, and then you get rid of your grenades, you're basically just a normal character. At least a hunter you can go invisible whenever. A titan you can do the melee attacks and have different effects going on or and have all this armor. Warlock is just whatever it is at that point in time when it has stuff. So there should be more diversity in terms of the class. But that's going into a different topic. But yeah, it really it depends on what type of character you have that it would fit better. For
Right.
example, another gun that's like that. I know I'm kind of jumping in different areas, but Monte Carlo. Monte
Mm.
Carlo is an okay weapon
It's a,
for a
it's a better
hunter and a
sandwich.
right. It's an okay weapon for a hunter and a warlock, but it's amazing for a titan because the perk on it is um well a warlock would actually benefit from this too. The perk on it is you quickly regenerate your melee attack.
Mm.
So
Right.
you kill things, you have the melee up, all the way up all of a sudden, and then bam, you use the for Titan generating orbs with the barrier melee. And then all
Mm.
of a sudden, for a warlock, you get your burn back. For a hunter, he can become invisible quickly with the blink strike.
Mm.
I use that a lot with my Titan, especially in the first part of the raid, for Crota, and I'm just generating orbs nonstop. That's how I get my orbs real quick.
Good strategy.
You brought up invisibility. That's something I haven't seen in the Crucible in a while. Now I think about it.
I've seen quite a few people doing invisibility, at least when in my games anyway. A couple people using invisibility. The one thing I have noticed is there's a lot less hunters that there were before. There's a
That's
lot
true.
more Titans now because ever since the game became more team oriented with all these different updates, there's a lot more Titans going around using bubbles, generating orbs, providing support for their team than it was before. It's no longer the lone hunter with a shotgun unloading on you. It's now more of, okay, lone hunter, here's three of us right here. St. Valentine's Day massacre, you're done.
Yes, I see. I had the bounty. I think it was yesterday. I was playing Crucible. I had the bounty to kill 25 hunters, and it actually took me a while to do it because there were no hunters. It was all warlocks and titans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hunters have been the hunter mentality has been changed, and now you got to use a lot more of their support abilities. The arc bolt grenade, using the golden gun from a distance, whereas you used to just run towards them. Now you're kind of closer to your guys using the golden gun so that they can get the orbs, so that they can use their supers to support you getting more orbs.
Right.
I don't know. I still lone wolf that shit, especially with a hunter.
It's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. It's just the game has definitely shifted where hunters aren't as OP. Titans are now crazy good in Crucible. That they didn't have that same perk, or a lot of people popularity, I should say.
See, Titans just feel like more of an annoyance. That's what they feel like. It's like when they pop a bubble, it's like, oh, now I'll come back later. Like, that's what it feels like for me when I'm playing against Titans. Like, you'll be fighting a Titan and they'll just pop a bubble, and it's like, okay, fine, you don't want to play, stand in the bubble, and like I'll go kill somebody else. I just hate teammates that will go into the fucking bubble and try to kill a Titan. Hate
and
that
I see
shit.
it all the time.
I'm like, why?
You're coming in here. First off, I have Helm of Saint 14 and Armor of Light. What are you going to do? I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna kill you with my shotgun. Punch, punch, you're dead. Orb. Punch, punch, you're dead. Orb. Punch, punch, you're dead. Orb. It's like, here's 3 orbs, Hunter. Go get him with the golden gun.
The only thing that I saw that like what kind of helps, like I saw one hunter throw an arc bolt grenade, like, and like he went in the bubble, dropped the grenade, and like went out. Like he ran through the bubble, did that, and then he turns around, the grenade goes off with the guy in the bubble. He didn't make it out enough time. Then he goes back in the back in the bubble and is able to kill the guy. So I actually started doing the same thing, but with proxy mines if I can. I'll pop in the bubble, put the mine down, and then hurt him, and then come back, and then go back into the bubble while he's regenerating.
Here's the thing, that'll only work if the guy is stupid enough not to have Armor of Light in Crucible. If he has Blessing of Light, it's a complete waste. If he has Weapons of Light, even more of a waste. If he has Armor of Light, it's really tough.
Oh no, well that's the thing. Like it's hard to get that shield down, but you soften him up. I mean, you take a gun like the Secret Handshake in there. You could kill him in a couple hits. Like after the grenade goes off, like 1 or 2 hits. Because you're right. Like when you're that close to a Titan in there, they'll typically punch you. You know, and most of the time they won't kill you in 1 hit. So if you can get the 2 shots off, before they hit you the second time, you're good to go. But then you'll probably die from somebody else. Like after the bubble comes down, you still have low health.
Yeah, I just blade dance in there. If I see a bubble, I just
I've melee killed so many blade dancers who think that they're hot shit. They're trying to come in there. It's like, okay, come on in here. Punch, punch, punch. You're dead. Punch, punch, punch. You're dead.
Yeah, it's happened to me, but most of the time, I don't think they have what you're talking about when they pop their bubble, because I just run in there and I just and it's
kill.
over.
Yeah, if they have Blessing of Light, it's an instant kill. But if they have Armor of Light, it takes at least 3 swipes to kill them.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think that's what they have when the times that I've done it. I think
Oh,
that's what they have.
I love those brave little blade dancers when they try to come towards me with my armor of light. Shotgun, melee, dead. It's like they're like, what just happened, man? What just happened?
But you know what else? Like the the only way like it could pay off is like if there's a bunch of teammates in there and then you get all of them and then okay maybe you get killed by the Titan. But if there's like 3, 4 people in the bubble with them, like you can take them out.
The best thing for a Titan bubble is to only have 2 people in there, and then
Hmm.
the other people run around, kill things around there. Basically using the bubble as a mechanism to draw people to come towards the bubble, like your
Yeah,
opponents, and then having those people, your teammates, everybody's so focused on the bubble, the teammates just go after the enemies, or they stand behind the bubble if it gets too hairy so that they're not in the middle. So if a warlock comes by and Nova bombs it, you can just run from the back and you're not going to take any damage at all.
right.
Nah, that's why you gotta have that lingering Nova Bomb shit.
Oh,
You know?
if you run from the back, as soon as I see it's a warlock doing that Nova bomb animation, I turn around, run to the back. I'm perfectly fine. I take absolutely no damage.
Well, yeah, if it hits the like, well, I guess it's not just like the Nova Bomb itself will kill you, but if you hit the bubble with the Nova Bomb and you have the I forget what the name of the
No, I
fucking
know you're
move
talking
is.
about
Yeah,
the vortex.
the vortex, yeah, and you have the vortex after that, you come down and start doing damage. Typically, you can kill a few people. I've done that,
Mhm.
but it all depends how you play. It all depends how you play. But we are way off topic from talking about House
Yeah,
of Wolves.
yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
But
no, but
kind of involved in Crucible. Let's talk a little bit about Trials of Osiris since that's a big thing.
yeah, that's the last thing I want to talk about. Um, I mean, the biggest thing I didn't know is that it's only available like Friday through the reset.
Mm-hmm.
You said,
Per Chris, I forget his last name, the one designer for Destiny who was on the when they the Reef reveal. Trials of Osiris happens Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday through the reset. That's it. So you only have it's 3 shots and that's it. So you can buy extra shots by using motes of light. Now what I did see was you get coins of apparently some people have already gotten this. You can get coins of Osiris which get you chances to do it. So that's how it's gonna go down.
mm-hmm.
They haven't revealed what kind of weapons. Now I will say this: that badass warlock helmet that you get from Trials of Osiris. What is that? Oh my god! Did you guys see that?
Is that the one with the horns?
That's the one that looks like Horus.
All right. Oh, the dog.
No, the I think that's no that one's the I'm mixing them up. Anyway, they're all Egyptian. The one for the hunter makes him look like a mummy. The one for the warlock makes him look like what's his name? The god of the underworld.
Oh, Hades? Or do you
No,
say
no, no,
Egyptian?
the Egyptian god.
The Egyptian god of the underworld. Um, what is his name?
Anyway,
I thought that was the dog.
was it Anubis? Yeah, there you go. I'm sorry, you're right. Anubis, yeah,
It's
for the
not really a dog, folks, but I
right.
thought it was the dog, right? Yeah, it's Anubis. Yeah.
So like the hunter is more pharaoh slash mummy. The warlock is more like Anubis, and then the titan is more like Ra. So like those outfits are awesome as hell. They look badass.
That shit looks sick. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah,
That looks crazy.
if you're looking at the image that I think you are, you have the warlock in the middle, the titans on the
Hmm.
left, and the warlocks on the right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's the one I
the
see.
hunter helmet's okay. It looks like the helmet from VOG, but everything else is cool. The helmet on the warlock is badass. Yeah,
That shit looks crazy.
yeah. I'm excited for the
Okay, yeah, I
gear.
see it. Okay, yeah. Okay, that
I'm
does look pretty
excited for the
cool.
gear. Now they haven't mentioned anything at all. That happened. If you're listening to this podcast We're recording currently, what, April 26th into 27th, something like that. But starting the 29th, there is a Trials of Osiris reveal that will be happening at 11 a.m. Pacific time, which is 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That they're going to go over what's happening with Trials of Osiris. The only thing they revealed is Brother Vance. He has boons that you can get kind of like in Iron Banner. You will get armor from the Trials of Osiris, and it happens Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That's the only thing that they've really revealed about that.
Yeah, like Trials of Osiris, being a PvP thing, I would imagine that I'd be excited for it, but the way it works is like, you got to get a ticket first, then you got to, once you're in, unless they said that the ticket thing isn't real, but from what we know, you got to be invited to it first, and then once you're in, if you lose 3 times, you're out until you get another like ticket,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
But you can buy the tickets.
You can buy. Okay, so they did that. You can buy tickets.
You buy the tickets for a mode of light, and then if you lose 3 times, you buy another ticket for another mode of light. That's why I'm saying those modes of light are going to become very important, especially if you're into Trials of Osiris and PvP, because now you're definitely going to have to organize your team based on, who you work well with, what their perks are on their weapons, what kind of class they are, what they're going to use. It definitely takes the team aspect big time in terms of the of the strategy.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like now, that doesn't sound too bad. Like that, as you can buy if you can buy a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Because losing 3 times, like if you get hooked up with people who are lagging, you know, that I can totally see that being a problem. People in the regular Crucible, people fucking lag on purpose. We just talked about that. But like I can imagine like when the stakes are higher, people will be trying to cheat and get every advantage they can.
Oh yeah, when something is on the line that people are trying to get or that they want, they will definitely go out of their way to try to win, and they'll do anything. There's nothing on the line now, and they're already doing it. Besides, KD.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Like I'm a little bit more interested in it, but still not all that much. We'll see. That may change. That may change. Shit, I was gonna stop playing Destiny in November.
Like I said, this upcoming DLC has me very, 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 very excited for Destiny. I'm because now if you're primarily a PvP guy, you have so many different options that are going to happen in terms of new. Hopefully, they merge the two playlists for the love of God, so you can use the freaking base package with House of Wolves and Dark Below levels. It makes just put them all together. And if you can't use them because you don't have the whatever, just then they go into a different area. Just like use all three of them. Anyway, it's just I'm excited because there's a lot of different changes that are going to be happening, and a lot of different things that seem pretty cool. And it's just, like I said, it's just gonna be slowly revealed week by week, and I'm excited for what they're doing with Trials of Osiris.
Well, I think you should be excited for anything they're doing, something because we haven't had anything happen in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So any type of change is almost welcome to a degree, to a degree. So we'll see. But I think that's gonna wrap us up here.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna wrap us up here for this month. Even though it came late, I think next month we usually try to do it the second week. We might try to do it the third week of next month, and that'll actually get us.
That might be difficult considering the third week of next month. That's when the game comes out, or the DLC comes out.
Well, no, I mean like we'll do it like on the set. We'll record on the 17th, have it out like on the 18th, the 19th.
Oh Lord.
Yeah,
Oh,
feels doable.
Lord. Oh Lord. This This dude over here trying to break my back.
And then we'll come back with going back onto the second week after that.
Right.
I think we'll manage. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll let you know. But yeah, so we'll see about it. We'll see the third or fourth week next month, depending on how things go. We'll bring it back. In the meantime, though, we have several other podcasts. We have the Mashcast, which is usually weekly. Right now, we're in a bit of a break, but that'll be back soon. Double Tap is monthly. That is for the fighting game community. So if you're into fighting games, you should check that out. WoW Talk is bi-weekly, so you can check out WoW Talk. Every other week they talk about WoW. We also we got back into doing reviews, so we have review podcasts. Actually, this week we're gonna have one up for Mortal Kombat X, and another one coming soon.
Awesome game, by the way.
Yeah, that's the same thing the reviewer said.
Oh, baby.
So we just published one about MLB 15 the show. So actually that one had Sage on it, so
yep,
you should check it out if you like MLB or if you like Sage's voice. I mean, you can check out that review. So, but other than that, you can catch us on SoundCloud, which is soundcloud.com/smashthosebuttons. Some of our podcasts are on iTunes. You can check that out, or on Stitcher Smart Radio, Player.fm, and Pocket Casts. And we're on Facebook.com/smashthosebuttons, and Twitter.com/MTBsite, and YouTube.com/smashthosebuttons. So you can check us out in all those different places. And as always, thank you for listening. We'll catch you guys next month.
TTFN, ta-ta for now. Oh, yeah.
Goodbye.